People's Platform.
Good evening and welcome to the People's Platform. The government of Sri Lanka has high hopes for tourism to assist, aid and drive the economic recovery of the country. However, does the budget adequately reflect this? Let's find out by speaking to our guest tonight, Nishad Wijetunga, President of the Sri Lanka Association of Inbound Tour Operators. Good evening and welcome, Nishad.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Nishad, your organization represents the entities that are tasked essentially with bringing in tourists to the country. Speak to us about what the process is like when we look at using tourism as the lowest hanging fruit to aid us in the economic recovery of Sri Lanka. Have you all been properly consulted prior to the budget? Are you satisfied with the budget proposals? And what does the way forward look like?
Okay, thank you. Just to give you a very brief basically, the Sri Lanka Association of Inbound Tour Operators, we represent the destination management companies that are based in Sri Lanka, or inbound tour operators in other words. What we do is our function is basically we spend our money for marketing the destination and working with overseas tour operators to bring tourists into the country. So around 65% of the tourists that are brought in who come into Sri Lanka are accounted for by our membership.
Right.
So that's what we do, and we in turn we supply the bookings and we also use the services of the tour guides, of the transportation companies and all that, because we put everything together and give a one-off solution to the tourists when they come here. So yeah, in terms of that, the role we play, we are involved in booking hotels, we are involved in transportation, and we are also involved in booking guides and giving them the guides qualify and they are there to do the guiding. But end of the day, without actually a DMC bringing tourists into the country, they don't really get any work, because it's the tour companies that do the tour packages, and it's only if there is a package that they get selected. So that is one side of it. And the transportation also is similar, where tourists who come, other than, if the individuals who may just book and come into Sri Lanka and take a Uber or a Pick Me or something, that's a different thing altogether. But about 65% come through our destination management companies, which means they are making use of the formal sector in tourism in this country, because our companies are all registered with the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, and we pay our VAT, our tourism development levy and all other taxes, and all our funds, our remittances come through the proper banking channels into Sri Lanka. So basically, we contribute directly in bringing in foreign exchange to our banking sector, or to Sri Lanka, to the treasury, into Sri Lanka basically.
Sure. And
which means we are essentially an export industry, definitely an export industry, and it's an industry where the dollars or the foreign exchange we bring in, there is a cascading effect, because this money, we don't spend anything on value adding or anything, so there is nothing really directly going out. The entirety of that fund is retained in Sri Lanka, and it keeps going down the chain from us to the hotels, to the guides, to the transporters, and all the other small players in the industry. With respect to the budget? Yeah. So basically, with respect to the budget, what we were expecting, or what we were asked for our thoughts before. We have given certain concerns. One main thing is the transportation side of it. We have not had our transportation fleet, unfortunately, is now more than probably between 10 and 15 years old, and we have not been able to bring vehicles in the last so many years, and so therefore proposals were given, and strictly for to be used for the tourism industry, and also we have given the framework as to how it can be controlled and made sure that any vehicles that are brought in can only be used for the industry and not for people to just use it for their private purpose. The other problem that we have is that how the industry works is there are a lot of freelance people who operate, who are tourism drivers and drivers who own their own vehicles. Now with the COVID and with the economic crisis, these people unfortunately either they have sold their vehicles due to economic reasons and moved out of the industry, or their vehicles have been taken away by finance companies and things like that, and as a result there is a severe dearth in good vehicles to be used for the industry. Now when we talk about tourism, we are talking also, if you take everybody wants high-end tourism, they want high spending clients to come into the country. Now you can't bring a high-end, high-spending tourist into the country by just having a comfortable or a luxurious hotel room. There has to be a seamless way where they come through the airport, where they are taken around, and you know their expectations. There's a certain level of expectation. I'm not saying that they need luxury vehicles or high-end, very high-end vehicles, but they have to be able to get into a reliable transportation, into a reliable transport and get from point A to B. As you know, in Sri Lanka there is a limit. Most of the transportation is done by road, and as a result we need a good fleet, and we were told that we have given proposals, and we were expecting that we might hear something through the budget, but unfortunately we haven't.
What are the concerns that have been resolved through the budget?
So the way I see it, one of the things that they are looking at, the only thing I see is that the budget talks about restoring and doing up properties that are owned by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority and also other government sector which can be used for tourism. So that is all going into the tourism accommodation product, upgrading those things and using it for tourism, which is fine. But there is a bigger picture. So unfortunately, also when from the other angle of taxation and things like that, we are not asking for relief, or we are not asking for any handouts. I mean, that clearly we don't. But all we are saying is this is a growth industry. We are all talking about the lowest hanging fruit. We are all talking about harvesting this fruit. But unfortunately, what is happening is every day we are increasing prices, and we are getting more and more uncompetitive in the global tourism market.
Nishad, the global marketing campaign of Sri Lanka Tourism is yet to be launched.
Correct.
Speak to us about how important it is to properly utilize marketing as a tool to effectively bring in the tourists.
Yeah, so the global marketing campaign, there was a plan, and we were very happy about it. Somewhere earlier this year, there was a plan on, and there were tenders done. Everything was in place to launch it early part of this year. But unfortunately, the one campaign, the main sort of conceptual campaign was approved, but there were some flaws in the process of the marketing, the digital campaign, tender process or whatever, and as a result the whole thing has got pushed back. So sadly, this is something that we have been seeing, and unfortunately again we were very hopeful that this will take off, because we are coming out of 4 years of crisis. It's not like that, like other destinations like in the Far East, which also work on these same markets. Like, I mean, we are looking at when you look at the global tourism markets, we are looking at places like Europe, we are looking at UK, we are looking at new markets. We are looking at China, we are looking at India, we are looking at the Middle East, all that. So there are a lot of other countries which have similar products. If you take like Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, all of those countries have similar products, and if as a result we have to be competitive amongst this group. So and also we in that global marketplace we have to push Sri Lanka out there, and the marketing campaign is exactly what we need to do that. Of course, I also have to say, having just come back from the World Travel Market in the UK, the response has been quite good.
Okay.
But and also we were lucky that we won an award for the Pico Trail in the UK Travel Writers Guild Awards. Amongst there were 5 contenders, and Sri Lanka won the award for the best trek, and that has created some buzz. Also, World Travel Market was visited. I think our officials had a lot of consultations with different international TV and media and all that. So, but the thing is, without a consistent push, we need the awareness thing has to go on. And also we are coming out of 4 years, because the other markets, like if you are looking at the other competing destinations, they went only through COVID, whereas we started with 2019 with the Easter attacks. We went through COVID, and when we were just coming out, we came into this major economic crisis, which actually that impacted a lot more than even the COVID, because COVID was a global thing, whereas this gave out a lot of negative things about Sri Lanka, not having food, not having medicine, not having fuel, all of that. So we are still we have got over that to a great extent, but unfortunately it's still lingering. So that's why this global campaign would have been ideal to really get that out of the way.
As a key stakeholder in the tourism enterprise, in your opinion, how must Sri Lanka go about doing damage control to prevent the damage thus far done to its image through negative publicity, which we see at a global, regional level?
Okay, so I must say that the damage done to a great extent we have got through it, and the efforts of the tourism officials, what have been done together with the industry, that is with us and with the Hotels Association and all that, we have done a lot of different things starting from around July, August last year, which has paid off to a great extent. But I would say only maybe around 80% of what would the ideal situation is where we have reached at the moment. But moving forward, I think with winning these awards and also the presence we had at the World Travel Market, because the World Travel Market, though it's conducted in the UK, it's a melting pot for the entire tourism industry in the world, so everybody is there. So the exposure we got and the fact that we were there was good. So, but we need to work on the various media. We need to get it out there that we are now 100% out of the woods, as it were, at least for the tourism sector, and that if tourists come in here, that there is no problem, they can get around and do what has to be done.
All right. You're watching the People's Platform. We're going for a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
The People's Platform.
And as messy as a democracy can get, the values that a democracy can bring to its country people, to its citizens, it's so important.
Ceylon cinnamon is the best cinnamon in the world, and we have also produced our own data to prove that.
We believe that timely elections are important to any democracy.
Atrocities, violence, corruption. So there is a culture of politics that in Sri Lanka that we are faced with. And so therefore women hate entering politics.
The United States of America is going into election season just next year. Sadly, Sri Lanka hasn't seen elections for a while.
The People's Platform. TV1. TV for life.
multiple factions call for the civic rights of those who violated the fundamental rights of the people by ruining the economy to be revoked. Sri Lanka shares China debt deal info with creditors. No cope sessions until further notice, says the Speaker. Tekawatha Bridge across the Kirama-Ara waterway collapses.
TV1. TV for life. The People's Platform.
Welcome back to the show. We're in conversation with the President of the Sri Lanka Association of Inbound Tour Operators, Nishad Wijetunga. Nishad, getting back to the budget proposals 2024, VAT, the value added tax, has been a cause for concern. Speak to us about what the implications will be to the companies represented by the Sri Lanka Association of Inbound Tour Operators. That will be increased from 15% to 18% from next year.
Yeah. So actually, as far as the DMC or the inbound tour operators are concerned, we are currently exempt from VAT. Right, that doesn't mean to say we are not paying VAT, because indirectly we are paying the hotels including VAT. But hotels also, there is a certain depending on the currently how they pay VAT is, I'm not a hotelier, but this is what I understand. Their VAT is based on the amount of local consumption. So if their local consumption of local produce is higher and their imports are less, then obviously then they will also be kind of exempt from the thresholds will be such that they will not have to pay VAT. But that said, they are still within the VAT. They are within the VAT network. But we have been exempt because we are 100% foreign exchange. Our revenues are 100% in foreign exchange. We bring this money in, like I said earlier, it comes into the system. So that privilege or that exemption is going to be removed also, because that is also something that has been mentioned in the budget from what I gather. So that, which means we'll have to start paying VAT. Of course, there is a way where we can recover whatever the hotels are paying, but again, if you take the value addition that the destination management companies do for these tour packages, that means we are now going to be liable to pay VAT on that, and that amount is also going to go up by another 3% starting January, with this going up to 18%. Now the other side of other problem with the 18, I know the government needs revenue and all that, but other side of it going up by 3% is because it goes down to the consumer. We become the consumer with regard to our suppliers and all that. So as a result, the chances are that all this will add up to the costs of our tour packages going up in price, which means we become uncompetitive in the global sense of our things, where with other where the markets that we go to in order to get the tourists in, because our competing destinations have much better rates and their packages are way much less. And also with regard to taxation, of course, I don't want to get into detail, but that all depends on but again, that's also again quite high. But the VAT is definitely a concern.
Right. Speak to us about what more needs to be done. What are the loopholes? Why are we not capitalizing on using tourism to bring in more revenue?
So, like we spoke about earlier, the global campaign has to happen. We have been talking about this, and actually I'm just keep repeating the same thing so many times because it has to happen. And it's not that we don't have the funds. The and the funds are available because the funds have been collected by the industry. It's not something we are going to the treasury or to the government and saying please give us money to do promotions. No, that fund is there. That fund has been collected from the industry by way of tourism development levy over the last so many years. So all we are saying is to use that money to do the promotion, because the whole purpose of that money is for that. So unfortunately it is getting delayed, but of course we need to I'm hoping that at least in the next few months, that we have been told by January or whatever, the things will be back on track, but seeing is believing. And I think that is very crucial. And also we have been talking to the Tourism Promotion Bureau also and asking them to support us in terms of doing promotions with the foreign tour operators, because if you look at if the DMCs are bringing in 60 to 65% of tourists, that means at least 80% of that is coming through a foreign tour operator, because we work on B2B basis, right? Yes, we do some B2C also, but that component is very small. So with the B2B, that is a captive market. If we have some kind of way of working with the foreign tour operators, giving and work, we have done this in the past where we have given certain incentives for the foreign tour operators, where they have to give proposals and where we commit that certain numbers and revenues. If those are achieved, then yes, then there is support given for the marketing campaigns carried out by those guys in their respective markets. Now the thing is, when you go for a global campaign, you are just going all out into the world, whereas here this is very targeted, and these people are people who are in the industry, who actually have the clientele, who actually send business into or send tourists into Sri Lanka. So that I would say that is something that I would really urge the Promotion Bureau guys to look into, and over the years, both Sri Lanka, the Association of Inbound Tour Operators, as well as the hoteliers, we have worked very closely together with the tourism, and even now we still do that, and we do support, and also we have by virtue of the Tourism Act, we do have board seats on those the associations, the Hotels Association, also have board seats on the Tourism Promotion Bureau. So if it's discussed, it can be done productively, because there is a very strong private sector participation. But sometimes what happens is the authority doesn't get approved there. It has to sometimes go to higher places, and then the whole thing it goes off track. That's the problem. So we want, the best way forward is to work closely with the industry, that is with the tour operators, who are the people who actually bring the tourists in, and we know our markets, because we spend about 11.5 billion of private funding in rupee terms in doing marketing. We have spent that amount of money in 2018, which was the last good year in tourism. So I can confidently say that we have contributed in terms of promoting this destination, promoting Sri Lanka, and bringing tourists in. So I mean, and we know how it works. So I would urge, it will be, and we do work together. So even going forward, it is best that we work together and we move forward together, and which we hope will happen, which is happening, but would even prefer for it to, even these like the foreign tour operator things to be the proposals to be taken in and considered.
In terms of multi-stakeholder consultation, decision making, do you have an adequate seat at the table? Are the different stakeholders working in silos, or is there consultation in the realm of decision making?
Yes, there is consultation in the realm of decision making, and also I know there have been sometimes said that small and medium guys are not getting much representation, but I can tell you responsibly that about 90 to 95% of Slyto's membership are small and medium enterprises in the industry. So therefore we have proper representation on these boards. So they don't. But in certain matters, we have seen in the recent past that some matters they have just worked in silos and move forward, unfortunately, which has been detrimental. For example, the minimum room rate that was brought in for Colombo hotels with effect from the 1st of October. As you know, we were working very nicely with the Indian MICE market was picking up beautifully, and if you take the numbers, all the numbers they were talking about from January all the way up to July, August was mostly a big component of that, and it has been said that India has been the main market. Okay. So these numbers were really very high up and really good, and it was nicely picking up when without any consultation with Slito or with the inbound operators, because with the Hotels Association and the Tourism Development Authority, they brought in this thing in spite of us repeatedly saying don't do it. We went out to the media, we wrote to the minister, we wrote to the chairman of the Tourism Development Authority, we gave detailed explanation as to why. And it's not a case of, it's nothing to do with only the DMCs. It's not that we are losing. Yes, we will lose, no doubt, but overall, if the numbers drop, then even if the hotels their yields may go up because of a minimum rate that has been brought in, overall the country loses, because the number of people coming is how you can their other expenditure is sure. What goes down to the lower the smaller guys in the industry, or not even in the industry. Even if you take a tambili seller or a tuk-tuk driver in Colombo, these guys are all get affected when the numbers coming into Colombo drop. So we have clearly seen that these numbers have dropped into Colombo, and the Colombo hotels, I won't talk about the hotels, but basically the Colombo hotels have seen a drop in numbers, and also the overall situation is that the MICE market has come to a grinding halt. Sure.
Nishad, just to shift gears,
yeah.
Do you think that there is an adequate protection landscape for tourists to come to Sri Lanka, feel safe in Sri Lanka? Is there a proper streamlined system?
Yeah, there is a system, and I don't think tourists need to feel, especially if they come through a registered DMC and they go around Sri Lanka, it's absolutely no problem. Similarly, Sri Lanka is a safe destination. There's no question about that. But of course, there are other things that the authorities need to look into and can look into. That is, there are certain areas, especially down south, where we have foreigners who have come in and who have been talking about who have come in on the pretext of being tourists and are carrying out businesses. Yeah. We have addressed this. We have written to the Tourism Development Authority chairman. We have brought it up and given the awareness, and of course I think we have been assured that it will be looked into. But that is something that really needs to be addressed, because from a DMC point of view, we will still get our business, and our tour operator partners will come in and we will do it. But this kind of thing affects the grassroots level tourism service providers, especially in the regions. Because when these guys come in and they start operating, then the guys who are hiring surfboards on the beach down south, the guys who run the tuk-tuks, the guys who do the bike rentals, all of these people get affected. These are the small guys, and end of the day, that is what tourism is all about. It's the fact that we are there as the main players, bringing in tourists. The hotels are there providing all the accommodation and things like that. in the formal sector, and we are all in the formal sector, but there is a big informal sector. We have to recognize that. So the sooner we bring those informal guys also into the formal sector, on one side, the funds will come in through proper channels and all of that, but also, they will also feel that they are part of this whole industry and they are stakeholders. So with what is happening is those guys are really getting affected by what is going on down south. So I hope that sooner than later something will be done about addressing that.
All right, thank you very much, Nishad Wijetunga, President of the Sri Lanka Association of Inbound Tour Operators. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for watching us. We'll see you again next Monday. Have a safe weekend. Good night.